Okay, so I know the last video was a little bit long-winded and you didn't have any homework that went around with it, but the reason is because this next lesson, 5.4 and really 5.5, I'm going to kind of start on that a little bit. I'll probably separate the videos, but it's a continuation of this idea of balancing and writing equations. So I'm on page 10 and 11 on your course pack, so I'm looking at page 10 right now, and I'm going to start right where it says Law of Conservation of Mass. Now, as we know, conservation of mass means conservation to save, so mass cannot be created nor destroyed. This not only applies in life, this applies when we write a chemical equation. So, for example, let's look back at hydrochloric acid reacting with zinc metal to produce hydrogen gas, diatomic, Brinkelhoff, making zinc chloride. Well, we've got to figure out, does this obey the law of conservation of mass? Let's see how many hydrogens we have on this side. Well, we've got one hydrogen here, we've got a chlorine, one of them, and we've got a zinc. That's one of them. And we come over here and we've got, how many hydrogens now? Well, we've got two, and we've got zinc, we've got one, and chlorine we've got two. Well, clearly before the reaction, 1, 1, 1, and after the reaction, 2, 1, 2, we can't just make hydrogen out of thin air. If we have two H's here, we should start with two H's. So basically what I'm getting at is this does not obey the law of conservation of mass. And you're going to learn later, or maybe some of you already know now, that we balance these equations by changing the coefficients to the equations. And so if we were to actually balance this, we would put a 2 here, this would stay 1, this would stay 1, this would stay 1. And we can now see we have 2 hydrogens and 2 chlorines, so I write them in order. And now you can see it's balanced. And that means it obeys the law. So every equation we write has to obey the law. So before we are able to do that, let's look at our math skills. We want to determine if the reaction obeys the law. And there are 3 steps we're going to follow. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to count how many of each atom are there on both sides. Reactant side, product side. Then we're going to say, well, if they're equal, it obeys the law. If they're not equal, though, does not obey the law, and we've got to balance the equation. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. Now I'm on the top of page 11 in your course pack. We'll look at this example here. NaCl forms Na and chlorine gas. Now remember, this is a diatomic gas, Cl2, always written as with a buddy. Let's list out. How many atoms do we have? I've got Na, I've got Cl, I've got Na and Cl on the same reactant process. I've got one here, one here. How many Nas on this side? Just one. And I've got 2 chlorines. So is this balanced or unbalanced? Well, the Nas are balanced, but the chlorines are not. So this is unbalanced. Go ahead and circle that on your course pack right there, unbalanced. Okay, another example. Hydrogen gas plus oxygen gas, again, diatomic, Brinkelhoff, Mr. Brinkelhoff, makes water H2O, H2O, okay, we all know H2O. H, O, we've got 2 H's here, we've got 2 oxygens here, we've got 2 H's here, 1 oxygen. H's are balanced, O's are not. Balanced or unbalanced? Unbalanced. Okay, we're moving along. A little bit different. 10 rubidium plus rubidium nitrate makes rubidium oxide and another diatomic gas, nitrogen gas. Well, we do the same steps. Which atoms do we have on both sides? We've got RBs, we've got N's, and we got O's. RB, N, and O. And notice I always write them in the same order. That way it's easier to cross-check. Well, I've got 10 RBs here, and I've got 2 RBs here, because that 2 means I multiply everything in the formula. So I'm going to have 2 times RB, 2 times N, and 2 times O3. So this gives me 12 RBs, 10 and 2. Nitrogens, I've got a 1 here, and 2 times 1 gives me 2 nitrogens. And then oxygen, I got 3 oxygens here, so 2 times 3, 6 oxygens. Okay? Let's go to the product side. Rubidium, 6. You remember we multiply 6 as the coefficient by each one. So it's 6 times 2 RBs gives me 12 RBs. 6 times O, well, there's just one O, so 6 times 1 is 6. And nitrogen, I've just got a 2 out here, so I've got 2 nitrogen. And I can come back and I see, yep, RBs, N's, O's. This is in fact balanced already. So this obeys the law of conservation of mass. Okay, let's go back up here. Let's do, I'll leave the practice one right below that on PCl5 and PCl3 plus Cl2.